Ever wished you had like a superpower? Just resist those tempting impulses. You know, those moments when you reach for that extra cookie, even though you told yourself you wouldn't.
Yeah, totally. Or like when you hit that snooze button again.
Oh my gosh, yes. Tell me about it. And we all know we should get up, but it's just so tempting, right?
It's a daily struggle.
But what if I told you that vividly picturing your future successes could be the key to breaking those bad habits?
That's right. It's like rewiring your brain to make those healthier choices.
That's exactly what we're diving into today. In this deep dive, we're looking at fascinating research from Virginia Tech featured in Neuroscience News.
They've been doing some really cool work with brain scans to see what happens when people engage in this kind of future thinking.
And the results are pretty mind-blowing, it turns out, that simply imagining yourself achieving your goals can actually change your brain activity.
Yeah, they call it episodic future thinking. It's basically creating detailed mental movies of yourself succeeding.
So instead of just vaguely thinking you want to be healthier, you'd actually picture yourself a year from now feeling amazing after a run, maybe even getting compliments from friends about how good you look.
Exactly. The more vivid and sensory-rich these imagined scenarios are, the more powerful the impact on your decision-making.
The study actually had participants imagine something super specific, opening their own art gallery. A year from now, they had to think about every detail, the artwork, the music playing, even the smell of fresh paint in the air.
Can you imagine?
I'm already feeling inspired.
And get this, the brain scans showed that this type of detailed future thinking increased activity in the part of the brain that helps you focus on what's really important.
So it's like training your brain to prioritize that long-term goal, the successful art gallery, opening over that immediate temptation of like, oh, I don't know, another glass of wine?
You got it. It's like you're strengthening your brain's ability to say, hey, that future success is more valuable than this fleeting pleasure.
I find it fascinating that something as simple as daydreaming in detail can have such a tangible impact on our brain activity. It's like we're tapping into this hidden superpower. But tell me, how does this work in the real world? I mean, we all face temptations every single day. How does picturing a future success actually help us resist that extra slice of pizza or that urge to scroll social media instead of working on that project?
It all comes down to a concept called delay discounting. Have you heard of that?
Delay discounting. I'm not sure.
Well, it's basically that human tendency to choose immediate gratification over larger delayed rewards. Like, that instant pleasure instead of waiting for something bigger and better down the road.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm
Yep.
definitely guilty of that. Like choosing to binge watch my favorite show tonight instead of getting a good night's sleep before that important presentation tomorrow.
Exactly. We all struggle with delayed discounting to some extent, but what's so exciting about this episodic future thinking is that it helps us overcome this tendency by making those future rewards feel more real and more important in this moment.
So by vividly picturing ourselves achieving that goal, whether it's a healthier lifestyle, a successful career, or financial stability, we're essentially rewiring our brains to prioritize those long-term rewards over those immediate temptations.
Precisely. It's like giving your willpower a boost by making those future goals feel more tangible and immediate.
Yeah.
It's not just about knowing what you should do, it's about making your brain feel it too.
This is all so incredibly interesting. But this particular study focused on people with alcohol use disorder, right? So while it's exciting to think about how relevant is this for like the average person who might not be struggling with addiction but still wants to make better choices?
That's a great question. While this study focused on addiction, the implications go far beyond that. In fact, research suggests that anyone can benefit from episodic future thinking. Whether you're trying to stick to a budget, eat healthier, or stay motivated to achieve your goals, this technique can help you make choices that align with your long-term vision.
So it's like having a secret weapon for self-control in all areas of life. I love that. But before we dive into all the amazing ways we can use this technique, I'm curious to know more about the actual study itself. You mentioned they used brain scans. Can you tell us a bit more about how the research was conducted?
Sure. They used a technique called fMRI, which basically allows us to see which parts of the brain are active during certain tasks. In this case, they had 24 participants with varying levels of alcohol use disorder, and they had them engage in this episodic future thinking, like, picturing those detailed scenarios, like that art gallery opening we were talking about.
Right.
And while they were doing this, the fMRI was monitoring their brain activity.
So they could literally see what was happening in the participants' brains as they were vividly picturing tracking their future successes. That's so cool. What did they find?
Well, they found something really interesting. The participants who practiced episodic future thinking showed increased connectivity in a part of the brain called the salience network.
Okay, I have to admit, I don't know much about brain anatomy.
Hmm.
What's the salience network and why is it so important in all of this?
Well, you can think of the salience network as kind of like your brain's air traffic control system.
Yeah.
It helps you filter through all the distractions and information coming at you all the time, focusing your attention on what's truly important.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, and when it comes to decision making, a strong salience network can really be the difference between giving in to that immediate temptation or choosing the path that aligns with your long-term goals.
So by vividly imagining those future successes, we're essentially strengthening that air traffic control system in our brains, making it better at prioritizing those long-term goals over those tempting distractions.
Exactly. It's like giving your brain a workout.
Yeah.
Specifically targeting the areas that help you make better decisions.
This is all so mind-blowing. I'm already starting to think about all the areas of my life where this could be helpful. Like I've been trying to save up for a down payment on a house, but I keep getting sidetracked by those online shopping sales. You know how it is?
Yeah.
Maybe if I spend a few minutes each day vividly picturing myself finally getting those keys to my dream home, it would help me resist those impulsive purchases.
That's a great example. And it's not just about these big, huge goals like buying a house. Episodic future thinking can be helpful for those everyday decisions too. Like, let's say you're trying to eat healthier. Instead of just vaguely thinking, I should eat more veggies. Take a few moments to really vividly imagine yourself a year from now, feeling energized and vibrant, noticing how much better you look and feel thanks to those healthy eating habits.
I can almost picture it now, feeling confident in my clothes, having more energy for activities I enjoy, and just feeling proud of myself for taking care of my health.
Right, and by making those future rewards feel more real and tangible, you're way more likely to make choices in the present moment that support that vision.
I think what's so exciting about this is that it feels very empowering. It's like we have more control over our decision-making than we might realize. It's not just about willpower or trying to fight those urges. It's about using our imagination to create a compelling vision of our future selves that pulls us towards those goals.
Absolutely. It's about harnessing the power of your mind to shape your future. And the best part is this is a skill you can develop and strengthen over time.
This is also fascinating, but I have to admit I'm a bit skeptical. I mean, it sounds almost too good to be true. Are there any potential downsides to all this future thinking? Like, could it backfire in some way?
That's a really insightful question, and it's definitely important to approach any new technique with a healthy dose of skepticism. I would say there are a couple of potential pitfalls to be aware of. One is that if you focus solely on the positive outcomes without acknowledging the potential challenges along the way, you might set yourself up for disappointment.
Right, so it's important to have realistic expectations and to understand that achieving those goals will likely require effort and perseverance, even with the help of this technique.
Exactly. And the other potential downside is getting so caught up in those future fantasies that you neglect the present moment.
Oh, I could see how that could happen. Like
Yeah.
if I'm so focused on picturing myself in my dream home a year from now that I forget to enjoy the little things in my current apartments, that wouldn't be a good thing.
Right. It's important to strike a balance. Episodic future thinking is a powerful tool, but it's not about escaping reality. It's
Yeah.
about using your imagination to create a roadmap for your future while still staying grounded in the present moment.
So it's about using those future visualizations as motivation and inspiration, but not letting them become a substitute for actually living our lives today.
That's a great way to summarize it.
Sure.
It's about having that destination in mind while still enjoying the journey along the way. And I think that's a really beautiful concept, using our imagination to create a brighter future for ourselves while also appreciating the present moment for what it is.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I'm already feeling inspired to start incorporating this technique into my life. Before we wrap up, I'd love to get some practical tips. For someone listening who's excited to try this out, where do they start?
That's a great question and one we can definitely delve into. But first, we'll take a quick moment to gather our thoughts. We'll be right back with some actionable strategies you can start using today to harness the power of episodic future thinking.
And we're back, ready to put all this amazing brain science into action.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
So for those of you listening who are like, okay, I'm ready to try this future thinking thing, but where do I even begin? What's step one?
Well, first things first, you got to pick a battle, right? Identify that one area where you tend to get a little impulsive.
Okay, so like one specific thing you want to change.
Got it.
Yeah.
Exactly. It could be anything, overspending, procrastination, those late night snacking habits, anything that you're like, oof, I really want to get a handle on this.
So don't try to do everything at once. Just focus on one goal for now. Makes sense.
Now, once you've got that goal locked in, it's time to unleash your imagination. Close your eyes and really picture yourself a year from now having totally crushed that challenge. What is that future you look like? What are they doing? How are they feeling?
And don't hold back on the details, right? Engage all your senses. What do you see, hear, smell, taste, and feel in that future scenario?
Yes, make it a full-on sensory experience because the more vivid and detailed your visualization is, the more powerful the impact will be. If you're trying to get in shape, for example, don't just imagine yourself looking all toned and fit. Picture yourself crossing the finish line of a race, feeling that rush of accomplishment, hearing the cheers of the crowd, even feeling the sweat dripping down your
Oh,
face.
I love that.
Oh,
And it's
okay.
not just about those physical sensations, right?
Sure.
Imagine the emotions you'd be feeling in that moment of success. The
Yeah.
pride, the joy, the sense of accomplishment. Let yourself really soak it all in.
Exactly. The key is to make that future vision so compelling that it becomes like this driving force for your present day actions. It's like you're planting this little seed in your mind and watching it grow into this powerful motivator.
Okay, all of this sounds amazing, but let's be real for a second. Life can get pretty hectic, right? How do we actually find the time to do these detailed visualizations in the middle of our crazy busy routines?
You know, you don't need to carve out hours for some intense meditation session. Even just a few minutes of focused visualization each day can make a huge difference.
Oh, that's good to know. So maybe like while you're commuting or taking a walk or even just waiting in line at the grocery store.
Exactly. Little pockets of time can be really powerful. And another helpful tip is to use visual reminders to keep those future goals top of mind. Create a vision board with pictures that represent your desired outcomes. Set motivational reminders on your phone, or even just jot down your goals on sticky notes and put them where you'll see them every day.
I love that idea. Surrounding yourself with those little nudges to stay focused.
And last but not least, don't underestimate the power of good old-fashioned accountability. Share your future visions with a friend or family member, someone you trust who can kind of be your cheerleader along the way. Having someone to check in with can make a big difference, especially when those tempting impulses start to sneak in.
It's like having your own personal support system to keep you motivated and on track. This has been such an insightful and inspiring deep dive. I'm honestly walking away with a whole new perspective on how much power my mind has to shape my future.
It's pretty amazing what we can achieve when we tap into that power of imagination, isn't it? And the best part is this is a skill you can continuously work on and strengthen over time. The more you practice, the easier it will become to access those future visions and let them guide your actions in the present moment.
So here's a little challenge for everyone listening.
Yeah.
Take some time this week to really envision those exciting future events. What goals are you fired up to achieve? What kind of person do you want to become?
And once you've got those visions crystal clear, start putting those practical tips we discussed into action. Even just a few minutes of focused future thinking each day can have a real impact.
We encourage you to give this technique a try and see for yourself how it can change your choices. You might be surprised at the incredible power your mind has to shape your destiny. Until next time, happy future thinking.